Hi, and welcome to Vibing with Color. The Decorating and Staging Academy hosts a complimentary webinar on that last Tuesday of every month. And every month we have a theme. And this month has been all about color. So we hope you've enjoyed some of our mini lessons, some of our posts, and our freebie that's on Instagram. And I'll have a reminder at the end of the webinar so that you can go and know exactly where to go to download it. So today we're going to delve a little bit deeper in the vibe of color. And tonight we're going to talk about too the science behind the pretty. So many times we think about color and how gorgeous it can be and how it can transform a space, but we want to talk about the science behind it. So I am Sandra Racz, and Joanne Leonard Weary and I come together and we share educational moments about different topics. And Joanne is feeling under the weather, so it's just me today. So we're going to really go into the preferred color vibe, learning a little bit more about that, the problems when you walk into a space trying to figure out exactly what is not vibing, and then the solution and that practical approach and the why behind what's not working and give you some opportunities to transform it. So, first, let's talk about the color vibe of a space. It is not necessarily the actual color or the hue of that color in the room, but that saturation or the intensity. So here's a good example on the left. We have clearly the brightest of these three, and it is very saturated. You know, without a shadow of a doubt, what that color is and what it's going to do to the space. The second option is a more muted, a little bit more desaturated. It kind of knocks down that intensity some. And then last but not least, we have a neutralized version of that color. So each of these spaces could be are the same hue, but notice what the intensity difference, how it transforms a space. So many of our rooms today are more of this neutralized version. And even a more desaturated version of this color is going to be a little bit harder to see that connection to the hue, but it makes a big difference. And it's important for what your client wants. And in the Confident Color System class, we really do take a practical approach. It's not just all color theory, but it's so that you can zero in on color and how to use it. So here's another example of what we're talking about, this color vibe. We've got a much brighter on the left, and you can see how as we move to the right, still a blue, but how it changes the whole vibe of the space. And, what's important is how that works in the space and then how it works with your client's style. So let's talk about problems. I know we have all been there when we walk into a space and we're like, holy moly, what is going on? And the color is killing the whole vibe. Whatever vibe they were going for, it didn't work. So the color is killing it. And usually, if the color's killing it, there's probably something else that's working against you, whether it's furniture placement, a chandelier in the corner. Rugs too small, draperies that the list goes on. So being able to identify the problem will give you that opportunity to come up with some solutions. I want to stop a minute and say this too. You know, over the years, we've had, oh, let's do a focal wall, let's do an accent wall. Oh, no, accent walls are out. Then they're back in. It's so important. It's more important to do the right thing on that focal wall, how you address it, what color you use, what treatment, what line, shape, and form you may bring to the party on that accent wall. So sometimes the trend may be in or out, but it's what you do with that trend. So let's take a minute and talk about line, shape, and form. These design principles are important in our spaces, but when we talk about solutions for you, how you can address, let's say, whatever the problem might be, we can't forget that line, shape, and form. So let's look at this space. I love the fact that they gave us an accent color over here, this terracotta, which is brought out in the artwork, it's a great backdrop, but I want you to kind of close your eyes and open it for a minute and look at all the vertical lines. Let me give it. We've got a vertical line here. We've got lines in the lines in the window. We've got a line at the fireplace. A lot of times we have lines in the floor, whether it's the hardwood floor planks, whether it's tile. So there's always that linear influence, vertical and horizontally. But what we also want to look at is what can we do to soften or make it not feel like a linear overload. So it helps a lot in this space that we have the curve of the chairs, the curve of the coffee table, even if this table's a little short. Even so, we have some of that shape coming in. And also notice that we have some textural elements like the coffee table is a different feel than the curve of the chairs. So we want to make sure that we have a nice balance. At the same time, since we're talking about color, throwing the color around the room. We've got a little terracotta pot here and terracotta on this big vertical wall, but we really don't have a lot thrown around the room or placed purposely, I guess I should say, around the room so that it gives us that balance. Even adding that terracotta, that color in our shelving would have helped. A piece of vertical art, and that would have lifted that space. So think about what you can do to increase and improve the line, shape, and form of your spaces so that the color can vibe. So here's another example. This is a good time for me to also say we use photos, whether they're AI generated or that we have used them for educational purposes. We want you to be able to see the point of what we're making. So very unique fireplace, got a focal wall, some texture with this brick backdrop. But that now gives us, this is where the line feels almost of the ceiling. We've lowered the ceiling. So important just in our designs, but really important, especially if you're staging, because you want to sell that square footage and highlight that architectural detail. So we have this fireplace architectural detail. Yay. Now here is the art that was added. Almost you kind of feel like you want to lean right off the bat. But it's definitely lifting the space. But I want you to see how we could look at this focal wall a little bit differently. Should you add a curve and give a little softness? Or should we kind of still honor the line that we have in this section? You can always bring the curve like they do with this ottoman and the curve in the rug. A little bit of a curve you can see in the sofa. And they gave a little geometric feel with their pillows. So it's so important how you continue that color story. This, can you see this very neutralized, desaturated color in the rug? It also would help by bringing it in like we did in this photo, bringing that color up that ceiling, walking it up and giving you that vertical balance. So here's another really pretty space. It has got a lot of interesting elements going to it. But as you can see, that line feels like it's drawn right here because there is our weight, not only the weight of the sofa, but the visual weight of the color. Really interesting, good proportioned artwork over. But what it does is it loses its weight and your eye, like I said, wants to cut off. So here's another just created image so you can see the difference of by giving that vibe, continuing that harmony, that color harmony up the wall and that balance. Here's just another little tip I want to share. Um, we also now, as you can see, let me kind of show you, we kind of cut that room off where that sofa ends because it's the most weighted right there. By giving, even if you had a, let's say a grosgrain ribbon, and you added that thick detail of that ribbon right here, now you've gone out this way and this way with art. Or changing the lampshades. There's so many fun printed lampshades as long as it's continuing the color that you have introduced in the sofa. So another one of the why did this not feel right? Why does this space feel off or this room is not honoring the color ratios. This is one of the simplest, easiest ratios tips to follow when you're selecting color for a space. So we want to talk about a 60-30-10 ratio. 60% obviously is the most dominant color in that space. 30 would be your secondary color, and then 10 could be your accent. So these are two examples, basically the same, same console table, same mirror, but I want you to see how the 60 changes from the left to the right, the 30 changes, and the 10 changes. Um, it's so important to give visuals for your client. When I first looked at these photos, I'm thinking I can see my client going, if I showed her just this sample of this color, going, I don't know if I'm that daring. I don't know if I want to go that dark. Other clients are like, yes, this other one's too pale on the right. So it's great if you can give your client that visual so she can see this is what a 60-30-10 looks like with this kind of combo. And this is what a 60-30 looks like. The other thing that is important to see on the right side, I want you to see how this vase of hydrangeas comes forward. It is placed a little bit forward, but because the color is different in the actual flower, it actually feels like it comes more off that page. Whereas on the left side, it's more of that backdrop, that accent wall. And on the right, it gives a little bit more of that movement, left front to back. Not wrong, but just it's good to kind of be able to point those out to your client. So the next opportunity is for you to think about Mother Nature. She's given us this great ratio in itself and a way to kind of follow what she's given us. You always have a little bit darker at the bottom when you look out in nature. We've got the dirt, the grass, whatever. And usually in our spaces, we have got that hardwood floor or the rug or the tile that's giving us a foundation. And then as you go up and you hit the sky and you might be a little bit lighter, but you don't want to cut off, like we had in that other example, right around the sofa. Think about those branches and adding the interest and that wispy element. That's where you get those. I always say just that movement in a room that makes your eye move, but also is a tad more interesting than just that foundation piece. They all work together. So look out at Mother Nature. I'm in Scottsdale, and I am going to tell you, I wished I had taken a photo last night just of the sunset. We had these gorgeous purples, but how they graduated up and got a little bit lighter. So check out Mother Nature, look at your 60-30-10 ratio, just those line, shape, and form, those design principles, and that will give you a lot of the solutions that you need to transform your spaces. So that freebie that I talked about earlier, we have this great Color Made Easy ebook Joanne completed for you guys. If you go to the DSA Instagram page, that's how you can download it. And next month, we're going to be talking all about trends. I just got back from Las Vegas at the market and I've got lots of trends to share. So you'll see them sprinkled out in our social media. We always have a couple mini lessons throughout with little short things on social media, and then our design boardroom at the end of the month. So I always at this point will end the webinar and then I take questions. So please join us because if you have a question, reach out to us. Joanne and I, either one, will be happy to answer those. And then here's a special bonus for you, our Confident Color System, our certification class. Go to the DSA, you'll see it right here on the bottom. That's how you get to the class. Not only do you get the certification class, lots of modules, forms that you can brand, a lot of freebies in there, but you'll also get a 4-hour live group coaching, 30-minute one-on-one, and you'll get her pre-made color palettes. They're also available on the site to purchase if you'd rather do that. And be sure and register. All these extras are a $650 value, and you can get them part of your color class. Thank you guys for joining me. And as always, feel free to reach out to us and have a great week.